Good evening, everybody. Happy Friday. Friday, 8th of January now. It's the end of week 4. I'm done with my last day of radiation for this week. I had it this morning. So the next session's on Monday, much earlier next week at 9:40 in the morning. But that usually goes really fast, and I don't usually have a lot of waiting around, so that's actually a good thing. And then I have the whole rest of the day afterwards, so it's actually kind of a good thing. As you see, I've got a bandage on today. I'm going to keep it on as I just applied a load of cream on my scalp, because right now my main focus is to not let my scalp peel. It most likely will, but I'm just going to do everything I can so that it doesn't, because, I mean, it's bad enough when you're on holiday and you peel, and I haven't had much of a holiday, so I really don't want to, peel as well. Wanted to mention, I forgot to say something in yesterday's video, was that, I asked my oncologist yesterday why so much hair has come off, and also so much on this side. I really have no hair like until here now. It's nuts. And he said it's because the high dose radiation is concentrated over the tumor area, which is here, but as the radiation goes in here, it does exit from the other side, and so as a collateral damage, basically the hair on this side falls out as well because the radiation is kind of going through. That was his explanation of it anyway, but it kind of explains why the area is so massive compared to what I thought it was going to be. Wasn't prepared for that. I've been told by a couple people now that my hair will grow back differently. Definitely a different texture, they say. It could come back wavy, which having wavy hair has always been my dream, so that would actually be a bonus. So we'll see what happens. It's going to take a while, obviously, to grow longer. My hairdresser David, who has been my hairdresser for 22 years, he started cutting my hair when I was 8 years old, so I was totally mini when he started. He's had to deal with all my temper tantrums when I've not been happy with my haircut, so he's been so great coming and sorting me out into the situation. So it looks much cleaner now, I'm afraid. Sorry you're not going to see it on the video today, but I'm going to post a pic so you can see it. David also gave me some tips, like to eat black sesame to help my hair pigmentation when it eventually grows back, because people have said definitely the texture changes, but not so much the color. But he says to enhance that even more than to keep it healthy, black sesame is the thing to have. So that's a cool bit of information I got today. I will add that to my stock list. So I also wanted to show you how I manage my days with all my supplements and everything, because I haven't really talked about that yet. With such a strict diet, but a diet which makes me feel really good, so I don't care. But as well as I'm taking anti-seizure medication, which makes me really not hungry, like at meals. I get full really quickly. So that means I'm tending to eat very small, quite small portions at meal times, but then getting really hungry in between. So I'm needing to carry around snacks with me. And snacks I'm allowed, really, that are good for me are, nuts. And my nutritionist said cherries are great anti-inflammatory fruit, and I love cherries. The hard thing is to find organic ones. But anyway, I found some great organic freeze-dried cherries, and they go really well with the nuts as a snack when I'm out and about, so that's pretty awesome. Also, when I've had slight nausea sometimes, which I've been really lucky with actually, it hasn't really happened much, but I found that when I do have it, I feel like coming on, I'll have a hot cup of green tea, and literally by the end of one cup, I'm already feeling better. It's like just the nausea goes away. I've been told that green tea and ginger, those are the two things that help with nausea, but I think green tea really, really works really quickly on me, so that's really awesome that I found that works. Lifesaver. So I have these pots which, twist on top of each other to the lids, so really super handy. So I've got the nuts and usually the cherries in there so I can snack on them. And then all over Hong Kong, people drink hot water here like it's totally normal. So instead of in England you'd have a tea, people order just hot water. So I can do that, and I have my green tea bags here all stashed in my bag. So this is perfect for traveling around and having stuff to sort me out when I'm hungry or feeling sick. And then this pot, same brand, it's called Go Stack. So nifty and, really cool. Sorry, I feel like I'm doing an ad now. But anyway, I use this for all my supplements because I have supplements that I need to take before every meal, and then I have supplements that I have to take with every meal, and they change all the time. So it gets kind of confusing, and with my memory at the moment, it's a disaster. I forget if I've even taken them that day. So I've labeled these, the top one is all the pills that I have before meals, which tends to be the same each time. Then I've got a with breakfast pot, a with lunch pot, and a with dinner pot. And so that means, every morning I fill these pots up, and so by the end of the day I know if I've taken everything. So this has been really handy. And then for my chemo, I'm going to use this pill holder, so Monday to Sunday. So I don't forget to take my chemo, because this isn't something that you can forget to take. It's not like supplements. If I miss one meal, supplements, I'm not, it's not going to affect me or my mood or my hormones or whatever. But with the chemo, because it's a pharmaceutical drug, you can't just come off it immediately, without medical, guidance. So this is to help me not miss any chemo. So yeah, those three things are in my, with me all the time. The chemo I can kind of leave at home because that's taken in the evenings. And before the chemo, actually, which I need to actually sort out, because before each time I take the chemo, I take a Nexium, which helps with stomach acid, and I guess to not let the chemo destroy my stomach lining. I'm also taking extra supplements to protect my stomach, which I think is why I haven't had any real gastric problems yet, which is fantastic, because that's the worst, really, being all clogged up. I had that after the operation, so I don't need to go through that again. So I'm happy to say that my scatterbrainness that I talked about probably a few videos ago, I feel like it's getting better recently. I did still buy the attachable phone cord so that I can connect my phone and attach it to my coat, my jeans, or my handbag, so that I can't just leave it anywhere, or if I do, it's gonna, come after me when I get up. I'm not getting out of lifts anymore on the wrong floor as often as before, which is a nice feeling. What I do notice, though, at the moment, the only thing that I'm, noticing, mentally speaking, is that I do tend to forget at the moment. Halfway through a sentence or conversation with someone, I have a complete blank, and I totally forget what I've just said like a second ago and what they've just said a second ago. And I tend, and that gets a bit embarrassing, because I can't remember anything that we've been talking about, even though it was, literally a second ago. I've already talked to my nutritionist about my fear of developing eventual dementia or Alzheimer's as a long-term side effect from the radiation or the surgery. Who knows what it's from. Some people may say it's paranoia and silly of me to think of that now, but again, I'd rather be safe than sorry. You only live once, and I'd rather at least try to stay with it as long as possible. And there are nutritional, changes you can make to your diet and supplements to also help the onset of, help prevent the onset of Alzheimer's or dementia and to regenerate the cells. So after this conventional treatment is done, I'm going to be, focusing a lot on that, because I just, I'm expecting to live like the same length as a normal person despite the brain cancer. So last thing I need is to, still be alive, but then be have dementia or Alzheimer's. So, because that would be a waste after all of this, wouldn't it? So I'm going to be working on that for the rest of my life, I'm sure. But since I'm, obsessed with all of this anyway, I don't think it's going to be an issue. Some people also might say that I'm being a hypochondriac doing all of this supplementation and alternative stuff at the same time, but all I can tell you is that I think when you're faced with a terminal illness, one is going to go to every extreme and try everything, because this is all about my life now. And I only get one of them, and I'm sure, like as hell, I'm not ready to go yet. So I'm gonna do everything I can. If that means it seems like I'm a hypochondriac, I don't really care. As long as I want to feel good, I don't want to have pain, I don't want to suffer, and I'm gonna research the shit out of this stuff so that I don't, and so that the next person doesn't either. And we can all be survivors together, and life can continue to be a beautiful, marvelous thing. So choosing alternative treatments with or without conventional treatment, I'd like to tell the next poor soul who might find themselves in my position that you will talk to so many people who will look at you with ridicule when you talk about alternative treatments, but you need to stick to your guns, and if you believe and trust in it, that's the most important thing, because in the end, you're the only one that's going to have to go through these treatments, not the other person. And so if you want to, supplement to try and make the experience, less horrid, because it tends to be really horrid for most people, then go for it and trust yourself. That's my advice for you. That's not to say that you will not talk to people who will also be horrified that you're going for chemo and radiation like I am. I experienced, both sides. It's like two extremes, the two attitudes towards treatments. It's really hard to take when you're first trying to decide what to do. You could go back and forth between, two such strong differences in attitudes, and for days, weeks, or months, however long you have before you actually need to make a decision on what treatment to do. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't have that much time to research or read enough material on the different treatment choices, because they're just, most people, they find out they have cancer, without even experiencing yet any pain. A lot of people just have checkups, and then they find, oh, you have an elevated cancer marker, so, we better start the chemo, or we better, biopsy first, then you've got this, actually, so then put on that factory line I talked about once, chemo, radiation, surgery, radiation, chemo, and it was like, everything happens so quickly. So I'd like to recommend a book if anyone's interested. I'm going to attach a photo of it. It talks about all the different types of alternative treatments, describes what they are, and also provides all the argumentation for and against them. So it's not biased. It really lays everything out very nicely and understandably, so that it's not biased in any way. So I really appreciated that. I wouldn't say the authors are trying to convince anyone to do any of those treatments in the book, but they just lay out all the information and studies, clinical studies, information that, most people don't have time to research. So it's all laid out in this book, and then after you finish, you can, it's up to the patient's decision what they want to do, but at least all the information is there. And it saves you all that time trawling the internet for days and weeks trying to find valid studies so that you can convince all those people that are telling you you're nuts. But the time it takes to find that information, it's really hard. So there are certain books that I'm going to be recommending over the next few weeks because they've really helped me, and they probably could help the next person. So what I've wanted to say, all in all, is I've chosen to live with my cancer, and I believe I can do it very well if I'm smart about my lifestyle choices and and if I keep a regular upkeep of, you know, doing non-toxic immune boosting therapies, so that my body is strong enough to actually defeat those, you know, hopefully tiny cancer cells that I still have from growing even more. So I hope in this video I've been able to maybe release a little bit of fear surrounding cancer, in particular for future patients with a malignant brain cancer. I mean, this is the whole reason for this campaign, to help people in the future. I've chosen this path of recovery because I truly believe in it, and I want to hopefully show you that if you take your life into your own hands, you can change your fate and not be, you know, scared to be just another one of those bad statistics that you read on, you know, cancer research websites. When faced with cancer, I've had to make the most important choices of my life, and all for myself, because nobody else is going to take responsibility of my life except me. And, you know, for the next person out there, you know, really, it is a massive decision that you've got to take, and, you know, you've got people coming at you from all directions, and all I can say is, you know, for me, that was almost harder than being diagnosed with the cancer, was dealing with, you know, what to do. So I just want to, you know, let you know that that's a really hard part of, you know, getting diagnosed. Well, at least that was my experience. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. I love you all so much, and I'm excited to say that I'm not far now from getting halfway to the total fundraiser goal. We're almost at £10,000 now. That's totally incredible. This is the end of week 4, 2 more weeks to go. Such incredible things are happening, and it's all because of you guys following me, supporting me, watching me. Thank you so much. Hope this has been helpful. Last thing I wanted to say is that I found a TED Talk online. You can YouTube TED Talk, The Joy of Cancer, and it's a totally inspiring TED Talk by this lady who had cancer, and she found this motivation and this desire to help people that, you know, that I really link myself with. You know, I feel like everything she says in that TED Talk is what I'm going through now. So I advise you to watch it. If so, just type into YouTube TED Talk, The Joy of Cancer. You will find it, and it's by a lady, an Italian lady. And it's just a wonderful video, and so I recommend you watch that as soon as possible if you can. And she explains it very well, probably much better than me, kind of the feelings that I'm going through right now. So I'll leave you with that. Good night.